And we are live. Hello. Welcome to the replay. Let me get Instagram up and running. Hey, welcome to this broadcast, this replay. If you are catching on replay, if we haven't met, welcome. My name is Mo James. I am a certified confidence coach and founder of the brand Confidence Coaching for Her, where we talk about the real deal of the confidence growth journey, self-discovery and figuring out who we are outside of who culture, society, our family, then people told us we were supposed to be, leaning into our courage and designing a life that looks like a masterpiece for us. And right now you are tuning into a podcast recording. This is a podcast episode recording for Confident Women Glow, our podcast. I'm doing this combination live broadcast podcast thing because I got something I want to tell you about and something I want to show you. Now, you might be watching this on any social channel. That's okay. Say, hey, let me know where you are tuning in from. And you might have seen, I did a version of this conversation last Monday. Mondays with Mo is a I was going to say weekly. It's not too much weekly anymore. It's just whatever I can get it in. But I did a Mondays with Mo earlier this week and it did not go well. I got attacked by my allergies. I started sneezing, got stuffy. It was ridiculous. We're doing it over. And we'll turn this conversation into the next episode of the podcast. So I want to talk to you about an AI tool that I built. I built this tool to be an on-demand wellness tool for women when they needed it. And in this episode, in this conversation, I want to talk about why. The why of it all, why now, and why I believe this tool is going to be an important source of support for women in this moment. We're going to pull back the curtain a little bit on Camille. So, if you are a subscriber, if you are a listener to our podcast, Confident Women Glow, you might have noticed a shift in tone in our episodes, a shift in the types of conversations that we had this current season. We're in season 5 of the podcast. There were some topics I talked about what was really going on in the world right now, but I always bring it back to you, the woman who's going through the journey, because it's not even about them people. It's about you. And as you are learning who you are, you will better be prepared. You will better know how to navigate all of the shenanigans that life is going to bring to your doorstep. When life is trying to drag you by your baby hairs, you are going to know how to respond. When people try you because that's what they thought they could always do, you are going to know how to respond. And so the podcast is always solution oriented. We're going to acknowledge what's really happening, but we're not going to stay there. And so in this season of the podcast, we talked about some stuff. The episodes shifted to address the social changes, the political changes, all of the changes that are affecting women right now. We talked about intersections. There was an episode titled Outrage, SOS, Denial Won't Save You. That was a good one. We had an episode, How to Be Confident When Cruelty is Winning. We had an episode titled Defiance. There is a lot of upheaval happening right now. That's real life. That's real life. There is violence, um, people being forced to leave their jobs, uncertainty across industries. Just recently, a report came out that there are 300,000 Black women, quote unquote, leaving the workforce, essentially meaning those women have lost their jobs. These are not just stories. To me, they're not just stories. They don't exist outside of me. For me, they have been signals of the real turmoil that people are dealing with, emotional, mental, social impacts, the turmoil of these shifts, these changes, these moves that people are making. I didn't want my content to just be talking about it. It couldn't just be commentary because there's a lot of that out there, and that's nice if that's what you're looking for. For me, I wanted my content to be solution oriented. I wanted to have a conversation that, yes, was going to acknowledge what was really happening, but was also going to be about, okay, now what? What's next? Sure, we talked about it, we acknowledged it, it's here, we all see it. What now? So that's where the seed for Camille was planted. All of this, at the time that I'm doing this recording, the last 8 months, all of this BS that's been happening, I always thought about the impact, the people, and more specifically for my audience, the women who will have to wake up the next morning after the news story aired and figure out how to put her life back together. And I wanted this brand, this place, this online space to be about solutions. So, like I said, I needed to remind myself of my own advice. The very things that I talk about across this platform, like, you know, put it back on you, like, you are the center of your life. So, what can you do? How can you change the temperature in your own life? You are the thermostat. You change the temperature. You do not merely reflect it, you change it. And so, I did that for myself and started asking myself, what can I do? What can I do through this brand? What do I have access to right now that could help women in this situation that we are in? What do I have access to? What is in my hand? That's when the idea for Camille went from something that was just vague to something that was intentional, because now I had an aim, I had a reason, it had a purpose. And so that was months ago. The idea for Camille took shape in my mind months ago. And I'm one of those people that the idea, the thought needs time to marinate. Like I'm gonna think it, it's gonna park itself there, and then it needs to be able to marinate while I'm doing other things. And life was happening. Months and months of life was happening. But while the idea, and it didn't even have a name yet, it was just an idea. But the idea for what became Camille just kind of marinated in the back of my head, and I would get a thought about, okay, I want the thing to do this, or the tool doesn't need to do this, or the thing needs to be this way, or when people use it, I want them to feel like this. All of these thoughts just started coming to me as I allowed them to, as I allowed room and space for the thing to breathe. It took shape, it became more crystallized in my mind. And then I decided, okay, now that I know what it's going to be, it needs to be built on a foundation that is solid. The guiding principles of this thing need to be my confidence coaching framework: self-discovery, self-trust, and self-expression. It needs to be infused with lived experience and my professional training. If you listen to Confident Women Glow, you get that already, so you know what I mean. And it needed to be conscious of the real life circumstances that we are out here wrestling with. The fact that life is dragging us around by our baby hairs, that needed to be acknowledged. The tool needed to be considerate of that. And and so that was the genesis of the idea for Camille. And so then I just started to pay attention to the communities that I'm in, the conversations that I'm having with women at brunch, the text messages, my own chat groups, the online communities that I'm in, and seeing that women were already using AI for support. We are. We're already using it for support. But I saw a gap there because they were using AI, conversational chatbots. Those are general purpose tools. They're not something that is designed with them and their journey in mind. And that's where I decided Camille needed to be different. It needed to feel considerate of you, and it needed to feel intentional. I didn't want it to be just a random chatbot. The tool has been trained and guided by somebody who understands the reality um, of what you're going through, because I'm going through too. I'm navigating these same things too. And so I know this conversation, there's a lot of conversations happening right now about AI and what it's used for, right? And how people are using it. I just saw a story last night about elderly people turning to conversational chatbots for companionship because the loneliness epidemic is real. That's real. And so again, for me, I wanted to be able to leverage the innovation of AI and of these chatbots, but only if I could do it with care and intention and responsibility. It was very important for me that Camille be built, I mean, ethically, because that's who I am. Like it's not good. It's just not going to be out here playing around loosey goosey with people's emotional health and wellness support. It just wasn't, because I don't do that. So Camille is trained to recognize when a user is engaging with it and mentions an issue that requires a therapist or a medical professional. Camille is going to say, "Hey, friend, mm, uh, mm, you need to call somebody." Maybe not in that language. Camille is not as snarky as I am, I promise you. But Camille is going to say, this sounds like something that requires the support of a medical professional. Camille is also going to give like prompts for journaling and self reflection and resources for finding help. Camille has a bias towards action, meaning Camille is not going to just let you wallow in your stuff. The tool is going to encourage you to take action and not encourage you to continue to stick your head in the sand and pretend that what is happening in your life is not real. I decided that Camille was going to be an agent of support. Shout out to the previous podcast episode. A vehicle of care in a time when consistency is hard to find. And so, if you have ever wished you had on demand support, a sounding board, a resource that is trained to support you and not judge you, then I built Camille for you. You are who I had in mind when I built it. So, Camille is available now at a very accessible price point, under $100, CamilleAI.net. And what I'm going to do before I jump off of this broadcast is show what Camille looks like. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to present on Instagram, but I will try not to make this last too long, especially if y'all can't see what the people on the other apps are seeing. So you are looking at Camille. So Camille is, I don't know if I said this already. Camille is a custom GPT inside ChatGPT, built on ChatGPT's platform. And so once you have access to Camille, you will see this screen. You will see the title, Camille, AI Confidence Coach. You will see a picture of a woman with some glasses, and she is journaling, and her hand is over her heart, and she is thinking deeply about what is going on in her life and how she is feeling. Camille is a socially conscious, private, on demand confidence coach created for women navigating the intersections of identity, personal growth, and social change by me. And so once you open it, you can just jump in and just start engaging. You can start typing your commentary or talking to it if that's what you do. And if you are stuck, if you are not sure what to say, if you are not sure how to navigate or where to begin, Camille is has conversation starters included to get you started. That's why these are there. If you open the app the first time and you do not know where to start, you are overwhelmed with words and the feelings, and you don't know where to begin, the conversation starters are here to help you. And so you will see a few. There's 3 or 4 across the bottom of the screen. How do I start trusting myself? Let's do this. How do I start trusting myself? I've lost touch with who I am. Where do I begin? I want to show up more boldly, but I'm scared. What do I do with the rage I feel about what's happening in the world? So again, if any of these resonate, if you don't have the language yourself to start the conversation with the tool, that's why the conversation starters are included in there. And so because I want you to see how the tool engages, I am going to just hit one. I'm going to choose, I want to show up more boldly, but I'm scared. So you just hit that and Camille starts engaging with you. It makes perfect sense that the desire and the fear are sitting side by side. Your boldness is calling you forward, but fear often shows up when something deeply matters. Like I said, the purpose, the way that this tool engages with users is it validates where they are. It's not going to try to gaslight you into tell you that what you're feeling is not legit, because that's not how I function as a coach. I don't do that, so the tool is not going to do that. It is, and it's going to remind you to first get grounded. Like, sure, we could jump to action. We will get to action, but before we do that, let's slow things down. So it's going to give you some reflective thoughts, some things to think about, ask you some questions that, again, you can just think about these. You can journal your responses to these questions. You could just type your responses to these questions back into the tool. And then it's going to tell you why you're doing these things, why these things matter. And then ask you a question about to help you start to think deeply about where the feeling, where the situation is coming from. Because that self-awareness for the user, self-awareness helps you avoid the same destructive patterns over and over and over and over again. When you are self-aware, when you can ask yourself those deep questions and start to allow answers to rise up, this is how you can peep game the next time and avoid the situation the next time. This is why I talk about journaling so much. Journaling for me helps me keep my own receipts. I don't have to remember it. I'm going to flip back through this journal because I know somewhere I dealt with this or something like this before. Let me see how I was feeling to see if I feel the same way. Let me see what I talked about. Let me see what I did so I can interrupt these patterns. Because again, it's not about those people, it's about you. It is about you. And for me, creating this tool to help you navigate the journey that you are on to improve your life, to find your peace again, to wake up every morning saying, I am not afraid because I can trust myself. To know that you can go into situations saying, I'm not afraid, I can trust myself. I don't even know what's going to happen after I take this next step. But what I do know is I have my own back. And navigating what we are in right now and what is to come will require, I believe, more tools. We might need some new playbooks. And it was important for me that I figure out what my role is in equipping more women to do what their life is going to call them to do. That's why Camille exists. And so I am excited for women like you to use Camille, to allow Camille to support you on your journey. When you head over to the product page to buy it, you will see testimonials from women who are already using it. Talking there, there's a testimonial that has not made it to the product page yet, but I will tell you this. There is someone who used Camille to help ideate, come up with a concept to uh, honor relatives who had passed on, like honor grandparents and relatives who had passed away and were not present at her wedding. And she used Camille to help figure out how she and her betrothed would be able to honor their family members in a way that was heartfelt and important for her and her spouse. That one right there, I don't okay, this is why I created it. This is why I created it. You are deserving, you are worthy of support, and I'm doing my part to give you an option for that support. So, CamilleAI.net, check it out, get access to it, and use it. Oh, like I said, I mentioned this earlier. Camille is private. It's built with the privacy features inside ChatGPT activated from my end as the builder. And after you purchase, you will get instructions on how to turn those features off on your end, again, to make sure that from your side, your chats with Camille are not used to train the model. That's important. So, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are catching this on replay and you have questions, comments, anything, do not hesitate to drop them in the chat. Make sure that you subscribe to Confident Women Glow, the podcast. A version of this conversation will be published on the podcast in a day or so. Um, and stick around. There's more to come. This version of Camille, getting it out into the world, I am so proud of myself for getting it done. But this is not it. Like, it's going to evolve. We evolve. Camille is going to evolve. And I am excited about what that is going to look like. So, thank you so much. Stay connected. I hope you are well. I hope you are giving yourself the moments that you need, because it's a lot. I'm not even going to lie or pretend. It's a lot. Give yourself what you need. I'll catch you later. Bye.